The next speaker is Prabh Banga, the VP Sustainability at Aecon.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. As mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Sustainability with Aecon. Aecon's mission is to build what matters for future generations to thrive. And just to give you some background, if you haven't heard about Aecon, our claim to fame is that we built the CN Tower in Toronto, the really tall tower in Toronto, amongst other large infrastructure projects across Canada, as well as the US, and most recently, expansion into the Caribbean with port projects and airport development projects. In terms of our highlights of our company, so some key highlights that we report on in our sustainability report: revenue about $4 billion. We have about $10 billion in backlog. But an interesting point to point out here is that about 80% of our backlog is tied to sustainability related projects. And that's sort of a shift in Aecon's business. We've traditionally been a company that's focused on civil infrastructure, roads, bridges. But in recent years, we've really transitioned to focusing on projects related to sustainability. And what we mean and how we define that is projects related to climate change mitigation and adaptation, sustainable transportation, and the energy transition. Just some recent industry recognitions. I would say one of the key ones to highlight here is that we were named Canada's top greenest employer. And a lot of that has to do with some of the benefits that we offer to our employees in terms of focusing on sustainable construction. So we have an award related to innovation and sustainable construction for our employees. We also offer benefits related to green vehicles. So for employees that are driving electric vehicles. And then we also offer a green benefit to our employees who are implementing green initiatives like renewable energy in their homes as well. Our sustainability strategy is divided into two key components. The first is what we build. So like I mentioned, we have a push and a drive to work on projects related to climate change mitigation, adaptation, sustainable transportation, and the energy transition. So our goal right now is to get to an 80% of our revenue tied to climate change and sustainability related projects. So here's some examples of some of those projects. So in terms of renewable energy, we have the John Hart Dam project. We're also doing a lot of district energy projects in partnership with Enwave, specifically in the core of downtown Toronto, as well as nuclear energy projects across Canada. In terms of climate change mitigation, some of our sustainable transportation projects, as well as wastewater treatment facilities across North America. So I think Eglinton Crosstown was mentioned earlier. So we're one of the partners there. Finch LRT here in Montreal, the REM project, and then in Vancouver, the Surrey Langley. Energy transition, we were involved in developing one of Canada's largest battery storage facility projects, which is Oneida Storage Project. That was just actually very recently completed. And then wastewater treatment, and then other business activities such as our traditional infrastructure projects like civil construction, like road expansion and bridges. So some key project examples, so all across Canada as well as North America, and like I mentioned, the Caribbean as well. The second component of our strategy is how we build. So that's really about integrating sustainability, efficiency, resiliency, and of course, core value safety into our projects. So we're continuously looking for ways to innovate across all of our projects. This includes climate change mitigation and adaptation, so looking for ways to reduce emissions across our projects. Continuous improvement is a key component, as well as social impact and partnering with Indigenous communities on our projects. So we do have many joint ventures where we've partnered with Indigenous businesses. We also have a goal for Indigenous spend as well. And then employee development, we have various projects and training opportunities for employees. And we're actually right now really focused on upskilling our employees on green construction and sustainable construction. So we've introduced a lot of courses through Aecon University that focus on sustainable construction methodologies. Our goal is working towards net zero construction. So we have a goal of 30% reduction by 2030. We actually just achieved that goal last year. And so now we've moved on to our next target, which is a 50% reduction in our direct emissions. So that's our emissions right from our construction projects. So that's scope one and scope two. And every year we're highlighting various initiatives that we're implementing across our construction projects to achieve those goals. So some notable examples are electric equipment. So we've started to test out electric construction equipment across our sites. We've specifically partnered with Volvo equipment to test out electric excavators, electric wheel loaders, and really looking at how charging infrastructure could work on a construction site and looking at examples from like Oslo, Norway, and other Scandinavian countries where they have completely net zero construction sites, no emissions, no diesel on site is used. And so we're using those as an example to see how we can bring that technology over to Canada. An interim solution for us right now is using renewable diesel. That's one of the what we would refer to as sort of a transition solution while there is more work being done in the space of electrification of construction equipment. We're using renewable diesel as an interim solution to reduce our emissions. We've also partnered with startup companies across Canada to explore the use of low carbon concrete. We've had conversations through our partnership with Concordia University about this topic. We've partnered with a local company based out of Montreal here called Carbicrete, who produces net zero carbon negative concrete blocks, and we've tested those out. We were the first construction company in Canada to test those out as well. And then we've also partnered with a Canadian company called Carbon Upcycling, which also produces low carbon concrete. And our goal at Aecon is to take these pilots and be able to offer universities, startup companies, an opportunity to actually test them out on live construction projects. Or we have places where if a company is interested in doing a low risk trial, we have opportunities to do them on a sort of a low risk basis, like parking lots or through some of our innovation centers as well. Alternative power for construction sites. This is a big one for us. A lot of our emissions on construction sites are coming from powering the site, so such as diesel generators. So we've started to test out solar power generators, hybrid generators as a way to reduce energy on site. Our decarbonization roadmap, very detailed list of our initiatives that we're implementing. This is available on our website. And then some of the initiatives that we've implemented, one of the key ones that I'd like to point out here is a partnership with Concordia. We're very thankful for that, and we're working with different professors across Concordia to again offer a platform to be able to test out some of the research that's happening at Concordia. One example is of innovation is piloting a plastic recycling program. This is being funded by the federal government. So we're collecting plastics on one of our projects, and those are actually being used by a company called Infotech, and they're being turned into a patented network of egg-shaped spheres that are a void for concrete slabs. So just a quick example there. I mentioned our partnerships with Indigenous communities. And the last thing I'd like to mention is if you're interested in learning more about innovation, research, and sustainability at Aecon, we have a podcast, so shameless plug here. It's called Road to Net Zero, and we actually did interview one of the professors at Concordia University to talk about our partnership and some of the innovation that we're doing together. Thank you.